Morning guys.
Hi guys.
We're sorry we can't do this presentation in person, but here we are, we've got a video link.
Awesome. We're going to start with defining success. A success in a conference or council is when everyone leaves from it happy with what has been discussed and arranged.
Brilliant. I'm going to talk about the successes and failures and for whom. In the second council, the second session of the councils, there was a great success for the Catholics and a failure for the Protestants because they weren't allowed to voice their opinion at all. So basically overall, however, there was a failure because the council ended early because of war between two countries. The third session was completely different. There was a massive success for the Catholics. It revitalised the Catholic Church. It was far more confident. The Pope had more power, and the Protestants, again, complete failure. They had hardly any say, and they now even had a stronger competitor to fight against.
Alright, some of the issues discussed were the sacraments. They were returned to, particularly the Eucharist. The work of the bishops. These were stressed as the bishops were seen quite as important for improving the quality of the clergy, as this was quite a debatable reason for going against the Catholic Church in the first place and causing the Reformation. The clergy, they had to behave more like clergy. They weren't allowed to gamble and they had to dress properly. Episcopal residence was another thing that was discussed. This was basically getting rid of pluralism, saying that bishops had to live in the area they were in charge of, rather than being in charge of more than one area and living in only one. Another thing that was discussed with marriages, first of all, they must go through the church. Before this, they could just be formed without actually having to go through the church. Also, finally, purgatory, which was basically the place in between heaven and hell. This was reintroduced and stressed. And finally, it forbade the money and paying of indulgences.
Now, you might be wondering, why was there a huge gap between the second and third sessions of the council? Well, it was because Pope Paul IV was very anti-Protestantism, and so he didn't want to risk giving any concessions to them at all, so therefore there was no council. Guys, we hope you've enjoyed
Our wonderful presentation.
our presentation.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.